Who is the biggest threat to take the national championship from the Georgia Bulldogs? They will be the two-time defending national champions heading into the 2023 season. And all throughout the 2023 season, they are the national champions until the final clock goes out in the final game. And I forget where that's going to be this year. Houston, I believe. So, who's the biggest threat to take that title from them? Who's the biggest threat to get in their way this year? I don't know because the more I look at this, the more I think a three-peat is totally realistic. Is it probable? No, it's not probable. And I think that there are maybe some holes in this team. I think there's maybe some places where, well, I just don't know if they're going to be better. I think there are some spots they might improve in. But I am skeptical of some of these national powers, right? I'm skeptical of some of the other contenders. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Ryan Curley from DAWGS here. Who will take Georgia down? Will anyone take Georgia down for the national championship? Which is obviously why we have these books. Of course, Back Shots of Kirby. Links are down below for them. Double Dogs, Dog Instruction. There aren't other books like it. I'm telling you right now, go look at the other books. They're not like these. Okay? These are more in depth. Different types of photos. Check it out. Red Zone, DoorDash. Anything you need is down below. So I think that Michigan could totally win the national championship. I don't think that's crazy. I think USC can win the national championship. I think Georgia can win the national championship. I think that Alabama could win the national championship, although I'm not super high on them this year. I don't really see it with Jalen Milroe. It's not personal, but I just don't really see him being. I thought the same thing about Jalen Hurts a little bit. Jalen Hurts is obviously a special football player, right? As much as you might hate Jalen Hurts, the people watching this video at least. So, I think I don't see it with Bama. I think that they had a great class, right? They're gonna have a ton of freshmen that are gonna be really good. How much will they play? How much will they matter? Is this wide receiver room that great? I don't think it's that great. Is this quarterback room? I just don't. Bryce Young, to me, is the most talented guy they've had recently. I know that list includes Tua, Jalen, and Mac Jones. I think Bryce Young's probably the best guy. I don't think they're going to be better. I just don't. I don't think this... should I call my shot right now? I'm not going to call my shot yet. I look at Ohio State. I think that there's a lot of potential with Ohio State. Is Kyle McCord ready for his role? Is the first-year starter? There are very few first-year starters that win national championships, and that would be the case for Georgia as well. That's part of my skepticism. So with Georgia is Carson Beck ready for this moment? But, I look at Ohio State. Are they better? Stroud was amazing. He was really good. But you keep your two-star receivers in Emeka Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. You're keeping a lot of guys on the Ohio State team. I do think Michigan could definitely beat them 3 times in a row. That would be something. Is Texas a true contender? Apparently Quinn Ewers is starting to take it a little bit more seriously. Quinn Ewers is starting to perform. You got a couple of quarterbacks behind him that maybe have pushed him to be a little bit better. But you lose who I think is a generational running back in Bijan Robinson. He might be one of the best running backs I've ever seen. I really think he's that good. You lose him. I do think Texas will probably improve. Does LSU improve? I think they probably get a little bit better. I think LSU totally could. I think LSU's going to win the West again. It's my take. I think LSU's going to win the West again. So I guess this will be the last year of the divisions. So LSU is in that name. I think USC, Caleb Williams, I already said that. But let's look at Georgia. What are the reasons they wouldn't win the national championship, right? We know a ton of reasons why they would. But what are the reasons they wouldn't? How could these teams be better? Well, Carson Beck hasn't played in these moments, all right? I do think that matters. I think Carson Beck is a really good quarterback, but he hasn't been in these moments, and you have to look at that. Stetson Bennett went through a lot of moments, and that's part of why they were so good last year. So Carson's obviously been along for the ride, but being a real part of those moments, he hasn't been able to do that yet, and we'll see how that goes. I think this running back room is a little weaker. I think the wide receiver room is better. I think that losing Darnell Washington hurts. I worry about the interior defensive line now that Bear Alexander is entering the transfer portal. I do, because I don't think they have a game changer that's played yet. I mean, I think Nazir Stackhouse is a good football player. I think Zion Lowe is a good football player. I think Bear Alexander could have been a great football player. It's just my feelings about it. I think he was really talented, and I think that's a loss as far as talent goes. I know some weird stuff may have happened, but that's a loss. And I worry about when you lose a guy like Christopher Smith. I think that this team's losing more. Like, this team gains more back than the 22 team did from the 21 team, right? This 23 team will have more from the 22 team. You know what I'm saying. But I think the pieces that they're losing from the 22 team may be a little bit more difficult to replace than what they lost in 21, right? What did they replace Jordan Davis with? Jalen Carter stepped in and played a little bit more, and he was better anyway. And I think replacing Christopher Smith and Nolan Smith and Keely Ringo and Stetson Bennett, like Darnell Washington and those guys, what they meant to the team, I think it's tough. So I think Georgia's got a tough road. I think they'll go 12-0. I think they'll go 13-0. I think they'll be in the playoff, and I think it'll be a playoff with teams like Michigan and USC. I don't know who the fourth team is yet. It could be Florida State. So I think there are bumps in the road, and that's why the people complaining about Georgia's, we're not going to play anymore. Good, right? I think you need to have those. I think they need to have games like that early on in this particular season. I think that's important for this Georgia team, because I think that winning 3 in a row is really hard. It's winning 2 in a row. Winning 1 is crazy hard. So winning 3 in a row, I do worry. I'm not going around the way that everyone else is. I guess there's a lot of people that have just written in this three-peat, and I just don't think you can do that yet. You can't do that yet. I know you don't like the videos where I'm not super positive about Georgia, but I'm being truthful. You can't do that yet. Look, I totally might end up thinking that they're going to win, right? I thought they were going to go back-to-back. I'm not sure about a three-peat yet. I think Michigan, it's go time for Michigan. It is go time for Jim Harbaugh. They got to get over that hump. I think that's where they're at. They're in a similar position to Georgia was a few years ago, a little bit. I don't think that's too dissimilar. I think Lincoln Riley in year 2 can really make some things happen with that guy at quarterback, Caleb Williams. They might get Bear Alexander. Who knows how much of an impact a star defender can have on a USC team that doesn't have a great defense. So I think it's a tougher road than people are giving it credit for. Thank you for watching. Links are down below. See you at the site.